Cool.
All right. Now we're live. So, welcome, Adrian. It's nice to see you again. How have you been?
I'm alive, happy to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to. I think this will be your third time on a podcast I've done. So, I think you might be an all time lead now.
Woo!
You or
Yeah.
Tatanka or Byron Graves, but yeah.
Yeah, and congrats for keeping it going. I know it takes a lot of energy and dedication to do it.
Yeah, time is not my friend with a house full of kids. And I just texted you about maybe 10, 15 minutes ago. Kids just all conked out right at 8 o'clock, which is kind of weird. There's still a couple running around about 10 to 8, and they finally just I heard a couple heads drop, and I don't know if they hit the floor, but I just don't want to bother them. So we'll just hopefully they
Yeah.
stop waking.
They'll just, when I have my Zoom classes, I'm in grad school and I'm also taking some acting classes. And when I have some of those classes, my toddler, which toddlers don't respect anything like rules or really anything. They don't care if you're in on a Zoom. So he'll just come in and like try to start talking to everybody, which is cool. Everyone thinks he's cute, but me, I'm just like, get out of here. Go on. But they're cool. I don't know where I would be without them.
Yeah,
Hmm.
water bottle will keep their distance. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna start
Water
doing
bottle.
more of. So, but anything what's going on? I know the whole pandemic thing has put a almost put our whole comedy careers at a halt. And what are you doing to stay sharp mentally? I know you got some you had a couple shows early on in the pandemic, and what are you doing otherwise to keep your comedy edge sharp?
Oh, I feel like I've just been writing a lot, and I just wrote a horror comedy and I'm still working on it. It's still in the works, but I got the rough draft and it's 104 pages and I'm sure that's going to change. But in it, I tried to scatter a lot of comedy in it. And uh, that I think has kept me kind of sharp. I don't know about performing now. I feel like when I finally make it to the stage, it's I don't know. We'll see what happens. I feel like that muscle of stand up is definitely gonna need to be worked back out because it's a whole different vibe. And then the Zoom shows, whole different vibe. I don't know. I'm not even sure if I'm a stand up comedian anymore because we just haven't done it in so long. And like I said, the Zoom shows is a whole different thing. I call them like um kind of awkward monologues, funny monologues, maybe.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to perform on Zoom in front of people. You can maybe see them on the screens and stuff, but that the feedback is what you know the main thing about being on stage is you can absorb that energy and just keep going on and on. Growing up, I watch a lot of professional wrestling, and I see Hulk Hogan get hulked up. I thought that was just an act or something, but once you're in front of a bunch of people and they're feeling you and you guys are this back and
Yeah,
forth, that energy just really does you know
it
I gotta
does
say
something.
Hulk. Yeah, that energy is
Right.
something that you can't really experience on Zoom, and that's really awkward sometimes. I've done a couple Zoom shows. I think the last one I did was with Jim Rule and his foundation in California there. I just took my mic off the stand and I just sat here, and that felt kind of natural where I was going, and I didn't have any notes, nothing. I just went off, and that was kind of where I wanted to be, but it's still not the same, man. I haven't been on stage for a real comedy show since June, and then at that time we were right in the middle of the pandemic, and I didn't feel too, you know,
Comfortable.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's dangerous.
Shoot. Yeah, I know. That's where I'm at because it's like I do have some friends that are still performing and I'm happy for them because it's one of those things that it can be it's just a way of life, and to not be able to do it is really hard on a lot of people. So I get it, you know, if you got to find a mic and you got to perform and do the live crowd thing, like I think that's cool that if it's done safely, right? But myself, I'm still not in a place where I feel safe to do it. You know, I don't feel safe, not just for myself. I already had COVID. You did too. But now there's this other strain. So it's like it's not just feeling safe myself, but you know, for everyone else and their gathering. I would hate for people to be like, "Oh, where did you catch COVID?" At Adrian's show. You know. I don't want that to be part of my legacy. But you know, anyway, it is what it is.
Yeah, that's the main thing about, you know, this whole COVID, the pandemic. The main thing for me when I got it was, what hit me the hardest was, you know, what if I infected my kids, my wife, and you know, my parents, and you know, my the rest of my family, the older
Hmm.
vulnerable ones. That's what that ate me up for like about 5 days. I couldn't, you know, it was just, you know, being a man growing up on the res, you know, we're still a little, still have a lot of things to unlearn, you know, the toxic masculinity. And it was hard letting my emotions out. But there were times where, you know, I was in isolation for 10 days by myself, and I've never had that before. And there were times I just had broke down, you
Just
know,
had
it
to let
was,
it out.
yeah, that's what
Yeah.
it was, man. And there were
And you
times,
didn't, and there was no one to bully you for it, so you had to bully yourself for it.
yeah, I had to, yeah, that's exactly,
You
that's
had,
what it was,
why are
man.
you
What are you doing?
crying?
You're
You're
crying,
bullying.
you're crying, and, you know. But yeah, that's just, you know, I talked about that before with other guests, you know, the toxic masculinity, and growing up on a res where, you know, homophobic, racist, you know, all those bad habits that we um experienced, and then just try to look past that now. You know, I'm 44 years old, and I think I'm comfortable enough. I'm at an age now where I realize I have to unlearn all of that, because you know, my kids, you know, I was a young parent, and I don't know how much of that they got from me, but they seem pretty normal and respectable young kids. And they were, you know, at my age I was, you know, selfish, and you know, but they're doing pretty good.
they're
And I
they're
got the
pretty
younger
good
ones.
compared to you
Yeah.
at their age, right? Right?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. How does that feel? Because I feel like my oldest is 13, and you know the whole thing is when you first find out you're having a baby, everyone says congratulations, right?
Yeah.
Then the baby comes and they tell you congratulations again, right? That is the moment where I feel the least like I didn't I mean, as parents, we didn't do much so far. You know what I mean? Like at that point, baby's on its way,
Mm,
baby makes it to the world, which is a big deal. So I get the congratulations there.
yeah.
But then after that, that whole period of time, it's kind of like, well, I just want to see my child grow up, quote, like you said, normal. And I don't mean normal. I guess better than me for sure.
Yeah.
Become a better individual than I was at that age. And then that will be the great experiment. And that's when I want congratulations. Like when my son graduates from high school, then tell me congratulations. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, because you don't really know when they're little. And then, so what is that like having grown kids? Are you kind of like, wow, do you give yourself a little bit of a pat on the back? Like, wow, they're here, they're alive, they're cool.
Well, I've been thinking about that a lot. And um you know, the way they grew up, it was, you know, we struggled, you know, as young parents, we struggled raising our kids. You know, we didn't have a lot, and it was you know, not really dark times, but they were tough trying to raise young ones at such a young age, especially on the reservation. You know, bad habits are everywhere. And but I think my older ones are, I'm proud of where they're going right now, what they're accomplishing. And you know, like I said, at that age I was, you know, selfish, mouthy, trash talking, drunk at the time. I had no goals, and they're beyond that. They're right where I am, about maybe mid 30s. I finally
They're
started
more mature than you.
yeah, they're way more mature than I was at that age, and that's what I'm most proud of. But also, I think about the environment I may have brought them up in. I'm not proud of a lot of things, that the way I handle things growing up, stressed out as a young parent, and that keeps me from patting myself on the back.
Mm,
I could have done more at when they were younger, and they somehow ended up pretty normal. Young ladies. Well, my three oldest are girls, and they're pretty successful in life. My 14-year-old son. There are things that I don't do with him that I did with them, not because he's a boy, but because of the way you know, raising teenage girls is like the worst thing in the world. It was so stressful to me, and
yeah.
I might have lashed out at them a lot because the teenage girls doing teenage, worried about them.
I
Mostly worried about them all the time, going out and doing stuff, and that's what
mhm,
frustrated me so much.
yeah. And I think as parents we never stop worrying.
Yeah.
It's just like a constant worrying. And I know what you mean, like, about there's stuff that could have been done, better. Because I mean, my son's still young, but I'm still finding things where because the oldest compared to the youngest, I used to hate that my parents mellowed out on my little brother, and he was just a year younger than me. But just seeing how, you know, my older brother, and then me, and then my younger brother, like my older brother and I, we had to go to college. There was no choice. There was no nothing. It was, you're going. Basically, it was our only choice because we had nowhere. My parents were not going to support us in any kind of, like, just stay at home for a while type of stuff and find yourself. That was not a choice for us. We could not find ourselves. We just had to keep going, either enter the workforce right away or go to college, and there was no anything else. Then with my younger brother, I remember being like, he's going to college, right? And my mom she was on the phone with me, and she was like, college isn't for everybody. And I was like, what? How, when did you? And just like, she got so more lenient, so more chill. And I was like, mm-mm. The older kids, I feel like there's a little bit of resentment, like, why did you mellow out? But at the same time, as a parent, now that I'm in the parent shoes, I get it, because you kind of see that, like, in the beginning, you're just trying to figure out the whole parenting thing. And then by the time you have the younger ones, it's like, okay, I've made my mistakes, and now I need to learn from my mistakes.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm realizing with our youngest ones now. We adopted all of them are out of the system now, and they're all adopted. And there are things, there are times where they get out of hand, and things escalate. There's always one that picks up everybody. It just has to. I swear, one day, three of my girls were standing in the hallway, and one of my boys just slap every. I heard one cry, then the next one cried, then the other one cried. Three of them in a row crying, and it just set off a whole chain of events. But again, I've learned a lot from my older kids, and I'm trying to bring that to my almost, I want to say, my next generation of kids. But
Hmm.
that's what it seems like, because my oldest just turned 25 this year, and I got
Yeah, that's an
25.
entire new generation.
Yeah, it literally a different generation, and they things have changed a lot in the last 25 years. Right now I have a 7-year old, two 6-year olds, three 5-year olds, and two 4-year olds. So it's never boring here. And that was my day all day yesterday with the kids. I know I know it's tough, but my wife, she went from the first lockdown in March until about the end of June, home every day with them, with the
Mm.
kids by herself. So um I kind of she's a hero to me because I know what it's really like,
Yeah,
and
she's a hero to me too.
yeah, because I don't think I could have lasted 3 months trying to distance learning, and I don't know how she did it. I don't. There's a lot of things I don't know how she pulls them off, but she's like a magician. She's able to figure stuff out, and
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I I have 3 kids in distance learning, and and uh and plus me going to grad school, so I created a binder of our schedules and our passwords, because that drove me nuts for a while, was all the passwords, because it's not just your Zoom password, it's like, the school password, and then the book, the laptop password. Oh
yeah,
my gosh, we had like everybody had like 10 passwords, and I can barely remember my own. So I just created a binder, and then they were changing them, and I was like, oh, you guys are trying to kill me. Like, by you guys, I mean the universe.
yeah,
and I'm not as like cool, I think, as I come off. It's like, yeah, I'm handling it. We're good. I'm actually like plenty of days where I'm like visually stressed out. Like I do this on my bed sometimes. Like, I don't know if you ever
I see
like,
that a
I just
lot.
will sit
Yeah,
on my bed and I go like this, and then and I'm sitting here thinking about, like, whatever bills, and then somebody screaming in the other room, and then it's just all this stuff, and then just sit there like this, and then then my husband will come up to me and just kind of like and I'm just like, so I'm and then I've of course had my days where I just full on. I mean, I think pandemic is really pulling at everyone to where things are coming to the surface that maybe they hadn't thought about, and we're seeing everyone's true colors. We're seeing, and we're also getting to know ourselves in a way that we probably didn't know before. So like, I think all of our vices are coming out, all of our crutches are coming out, and bad habits and all that stuff. And for me, what I didn't realize until my dad came to stay with me because of pandemic, just trying to keep him safe from getting sick, was, he told me, he was like, you can't get all riled up. It's not good for your blood pressure. Like, it might work now that you're young, but as you get older, it's not gonna serve you. And then I thought about it, and I never noticed that every day I had at least one moment where I was like, just like yelling, and like, I'm kind of because I used to be a cheerleader in high school, so I got that sort of drill sergeant, everybody like, all right, everybody, get in the kitchen, or everybody, I just have like a drill sergeant thing that I do, and I'm so used to it. But then I realized, yeah, it's not coming from like a disciplined place, it's coming from a stressed out place, and it ain't working. It ain't working. And I know if I were to like record myself and listen to it, I'd be like, mm-mm, mm-mm. So yeah, I've been falling apart on the daily,
yeah,
basically.
yeah.
I'm
I feel
falling
like
apart on the daily.
I try to help the wife with relieve some of the duties that she does, but she's constantly on the move. She's always cooking, always cleaning, always doing something,
Mm-hmm.
staying busy. I feel like I'm just in the way sometimes, and I try to, she's standing on one part of the kitchen and I walk around so I'm not in the way. And I'll do dishes. My thing is doing laundry and taking out the garbage right now, and opening jars. That's my favorite thing to do because all the kids and all
You're
my
the
kids.
official jar opener.
Yeah, ever since my youngest ones, they've always been impressed that I can open up a jar. I had
Yeah.
my youngest baby. She had something going on with her thing she couldn't open it. Oh, Dad, you do it because you're strong, huh? You got big muscles, and she grabbed my. Oh, look at those. That's my favorite part of being a man is. But yeah, I just feel
Kids
like
will really amp you up though too.
they
You're like,
do. Yeah, they really gas me up, man. I like
yeah.
that part. And yeah, it just seems like I'm more of a cheerleader for my wife, and I just try to
Hmm.
stay out of her way because the whole time in pandemic she built like a bedroom for my daughter. She replaced some doors and she flooring. She did all that flooring. I do the heavy lifting. I don't really. That's not my thing. I'm not a handyman. I'm more like the muscle and cheerleader. So that's what.
Yeah, muscle and cheerleader. I like that because everybody needs some motivation,
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody needs muscle and motivation.
Yeah.
Uh Send in the reinforcements. For me, I feel like when I'm busy, I just need the toddler to be safe.
Yeah.
So I actually have on my chore chart a toddler duty, like it's an actual chore and it's assigned to a different child or person every day. So it's
Hmm.
either assigned to me and my husband, or it's assigned to one of the kids. And so it's an actual chore because I need the toddler to be safe
Yeah.
and I need a visual on him at all times.
Hmm.
And so he has a handler every day, and that's just one toddler. So I don't know how you guys have several,
We.
but they need constant eyes. And to me,
Yeah.
I'm so busy with grad school and with writing and with my booming career. Just kidding. But just everything that I'm doing, I have to make sure that that toddler is safe. I've had too many experiences with my older kids when they were toddlers where turns out they need supervision.
Yeah. That's the thing I like about my kids are all kind of in the you know same age range, and we have a couple rats in the group. So a couple informants let us
They
know
keep
what's
an
going
eye on
on. Yeah,
everyone.
they dad, Liam's doing this, or dad Chantel, whatever, they come and tell us. So that's pretty good to have. And another thing we learned, we live deep in the woods by the lake. One thing we learned about having toddlers is when you live deep in the woods, don't buy them camouflage.
Hmm.
Because one day we went outside, my boy Liam, he had a camouflage sweater on, and he took a couple steps in the woods and he was gone. He wasn't literally gone, but we couldn't see him. If it wasn't for his little white face, we probably would have never saw him. He turned around and we saw his little white face. But just don't put kids in camouflage when you live in the woods. And that's what I never understood about hunters and stuff.
Hmm.
Some hunters, they have camouflage guns,
Oh yeah.
camouflage phone cases. That's
Hmm.
gonna suck if you drop that shit in the woods. So I don't know
Hmm.
what the whole thing with camouflage is. So camouflage
Yeah.
scares me because it's too
It's funny
dangerous.
too because it's not like our like long time ago the ancestors needed camouflage to
Mhm.
hunt. They didn't need that. I
No,
don't think. I know they
no,
had their ways of hiding, but
yeah. I think
yeah.
we were, the color of our skin, just blends in with the elements, like deer and especially deer around here, they're the same color as their surroundings, and maybe our skin color was such a I suppose our own camouflage.
Yeah, I never thought of that. That's
I
true.
just
That
made that
is
up. I don't know if
true.
it's true or not, but it sounded
No,
pretty cool.
I'm along for that because it's like it makes sense to me now why white people would need camouflage because it's like
Mhm.
they're really bright.
Yeah. Yeah, like my
And I
boy, my boy Liam, he's a little light colored, but turn his face around, you can see him anywhere because that's
Mhm.
good that they have
I'm
that.
the same way. I'm really light, and so if I don't get lost. I'm really bright. I was just doing something today where because I do a lot of auditions where
Hmm.
you for native roles,
Yeah.
and I always feel conflicted because of course I identify as Kiowa Apache. I always have my whole life. That's what I was born as. That's what I will die as,
Hmm.
and that's who I am. But I know that the way the world looks at me, it's a little bit like, question, just a little question because I'm too I'm ambiguous. If I go to Hawaii, I look Hawaiian. If I go to Alaska, I look Alaskan.
Hmm.
If I go to Canada,
Yeah.
I look just no matter where I go, I do unless it's a really really dark skinned population, then I fit in.
Yeah.
And but like especially places that are very ambiguous looking like
Hmm.
me, then I fit in. Like I went to
Yeah.
Mexico, I fit in. um I'm here in New Mexico, I fit in. But I think that what people I'm kind of I'm in this conflicted part because I see that the media is changing and they're trying to be more inclusive. They're trying
Mm-hmm.
to, hire more natives. They're trying to do all these things. And then there's a conversation about colorism, right? Like um in Indian country, we're really good at like putting each other down for our color, for our shades,
Yeah.
like I remember being a kid and surprisingly, I didn't get made fun of that much for my color, even though I was the lightest of all my cousins. Um, it was actually my darker skinned cousins, the darkest ones, that would get you. People would say stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or like we just pick on each other. And
Yeah.
it's always like, and I always wonder, why in Indian country do we have to be the perfect shade of brown?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like we're trying to aim for some kind of perfect shade that doesn't exist because it's all beautiful and it's all perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if you notice that if that's what they do up north, but it's like if you're too white, you're made fun of. If you're too dark, you're made fun of.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. So I'm trying to get away from all of that.
Yeah. Yeah, we get that a lot up here. A lot of us get really dark in the summertime, and a lot of people, I got nephews that aren't, as dark and handsome chocolate as I am in the summertime. But yeah, we get a lot of that around here, and it just really the thing. I don't know if it's like the humor thing that gets a little too, gets too far. You go too far with humor, and
Mhm.
that's where that comes from, or what. But another thing I've been noticing is I was going to mention, maybe when you go on auditions and you land a big a list movie or something. Um, it seems like if you when you get up there, the for some reason the indigenous community will do something to bring you down. Oh well, she's not,
Yeah.
Kiowa Apache. She's white. Why is she? That I'm seeing a lot of that on, like, they call it, is it native Twitter or something like that, on, where they
Oh
all just
yeah.
tear each other up, and I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't never understood that. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think that I think criticism is good and healthy. Like I I think that colorism is an important conversation to have, and I think that like we do have to have the conversation about why light skin and white passing natives get so far in mainstream media, and it feels like Afro-Indigenous natives and dark-skinned natives seem to not have as much visibility as far in the native representation.
Hmm.
I think that's an important conversation to have, uh, and I welcome it all the
Yeah.
time. But at the same time, I do see that there seems to be a crab in the bucket effect of any native that's quote successful, like not successful because we're all successful, right? We're
Yeah.
here. We survived genocide. We're
Yeah.
all a success. But I mean, like we're I think it's always like there's always something about them that we're gonna find out and we're gonna hate, like and I don't even know what that's about. I think it's just because there's so few of us
Mhm.
that the visibility is bigger. If there were more of us in the industry, more people in the media, then we wouldn't pick on just one or two or
Yeah.
whoever, right? It wouldn't be so visible. Um, that is one of the reasons why I I'm perfectly fine if I never make it to mainstream, because I know that I would be one of those people that would get criticized. And like I said, I'm open to that criticism, but at the same time, I got my CDIB waiting. I'm like, I got my CDIB waiting, and I'm gonna get my grandma on the phone, and she's gonna have my back, and
Yeah.
I'll just get like my whole hometown to have my back, and we can go on the internet. I'm never afraid of drama. I don't know. I am like I'm a liar because I'm scared of it, but I'm not. Like I'm always one foot in and one foot out.
Yeah. I'm always afraid that you know, my younger years, I was a little bit of a I suppose not a hellraiser, but I never really got in trouble with it. I was just reckless, stupid, and especially on my Twitter, something's probably gonna come up eventually because I'm like 33,000 tweets in like 13 years, and something's gonna come
Hmm.
up. But I'm at an age right now, but I don't really care because I've learned from being young, dumb, and stupid, and just I've evolved a little bit anyway. So
Yeah.
that's gonna be my defense.
Hmm. Yeah, me, there's like, I know I've said stupid stuff in my past, and I know that I was an straight up asshole when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, problematic. I grew up in Oklahoma, and not just like, so I grew up in a real conservative place where it was common, just completely common, to be homophobic
Yeah.
and to be racist, to be sexist, to be all the isms.
Yeah.
It was so normal and encouraged. So I have no doubt that I said some problematic things as a teenager or as a young person. But as I got older, you mature and you grow out of
Yeah.
it and you learn, and so it is what it. I'm sure for all of us, there's somebody we could find from our past that was like, they no, they were an asshole to me, and they would, maybe they would be right. Other than that, I partied a lot when I was a kid. As a teen and a young adult, I partied a ton, and so I have all the incriminating pictures of myself. I already have them, and I was debating, like, I'll just like release them myself. Like, just put the dirt out there
Yeah.
myself and
Yeah,
get
like
ahead of
on
it.
Eminem, like on 8 Mile at the end, where he rapped about all the things the other guy was gonna say about him, and at the end, here, tell them something you don't know or they don't know about me, because after he spilled his guts and
Yeah, it spilled
yeah,
spilled everything, and that's how I feel too. I feel like
yeah,
I've lived my life almost like an open book,
yeah,
and I never ever pretended to be perfect. And I also got real uncomfortable with the role model label. But then, as you get older,
yeah,
you realize you can't help it. You
yeah,
are a role model, whether you want to be or not. Because if you're not a role model to the public, then you're definitely a role model to the children and
yeah,
the younger generation. So, like, no matter what we do, we have to model how to be a good person. So that's with us no matter what. But I remember being younger and being really uncomfortable with the whole role model thing, but I knew I had to be. And but yeah, I kind of feel like, that cancel culture, like, I agree with it in some ways,
hmm
and then other ways I'm like, you guys are just bored now.
yeah,
Or I don't know. It's case by case. It's a case by case situation,
hmm
because some situations I'm like, yeah, cancel them, and then other situations I'm like, whatever.
yeah. My biggest fear right now that I'm getting older and somewhat a little bit wiser and mature is somebody will come up to me from I knew from high school and say, "Man, you were so mean to me. You were such an a hole." I could, that's right now. That's what I think about, and because I see a lot of people that I went to school with recently, and I was thinking, was I mean to them? Then I think to myself, I wasn't that cool to begin with, so maybe they don't even know who I am. I'm starting to realize people didn't even know I went to my high school, even though it's a small
Hmm.
community. But so I was like, you know, was it a wallflower? I was just in the background looking cool somewhere, and so
Yeah.
hopefully it's still like that. But
I think we all kind of get in our heads like that. I know that the people that I was the meanest to and the people that I owe the most apologies to are probably the people closest to me, like my brothers. I will spend the rest of my life trying to be a decent human being to my brothers because I was an asshole to them when I was younger. And I know people are like, "No, that's just sibling stuff." No, I was violent and out of control, and like now that, I quit, all that's behind me. But like, you know, when you, I guess I'm speaking from the position of being an abuser, really, because I mean, my brothers will not, they will deny it. They'll be like, Adrian, whatever, she's cool. And of course I'm cool now, but like there were some moments I was not proud of. One time I took my clog. I don't know if you remember those, but they're like real thick shoes.
Wood.
Yeah, they're shoes. And I took one off because I was trying to beat up my younger brother. And that was about, I was old enough to know better. So I was like 15, 16, about 15. And so I took off my clog and I was trying to beat up my younger brother, but my older brother stepped in, and I took that clog and I just like whacked him in the face like a bunch. And granted, I know people will make excuses for me and be like, well, you were just a kid, and you were just whatever. And I was like, no, I was an a-hole. He didn't even defend himself. He didn't even hit me back. And it wasn't that he couldn't. My brother was a big ass football player. So he could have restrained me. He could have hurt me if he wanted to, but he never did. He just like, I think of course he knew, this is my sister. But at the same time, I look back on that and I was like, I did not have the right. Like, I did not ever have the right to put my hands on and anyone really, but like, and that behavior continued until I was past an adult. I was past an adult. And then I had this little moment where I clicked and I was like, this ain't right. You can't just keep, it was mostly my little brother. I always for some reason just his mouth would start going, and I was like, I was rowdy, and I came from a family and a community where it was perfectly normal to just like square up on your relatives. And I think that we have to quit kind of glorifying that and quit making it normal, and because it's not cute. And so anyway, so if anyone wants to cancel me, I just canceled myself.
You know, that story, it reminds me, my wife has stories exactly like that. Her brothers were very, you know, and antagonists towards her, and her stories are like, yeah, they'd bother me, and then I would just take them outside and, wherever
Rough
away
them
from my
up.
mom, beat the hell out of them, and that was it. And she has a lot of stories like that. It's just little brothers are the worst. I'm a little brother myself, and I I don't remember. I don't think my sisters really ever beat me up because I was the baby, and
Yeah,
they knew there would be consequences if if even if a hair on my little head was
you
messed
have
up.
the
Because
protection of being the
yeah,
baby.
yeah, being the baby boy. So, but yeah, I remember being a jerk to my sister. Remember me. I used to blackmail my sisters when they were teenagers. I'd catch them smoking,
Hmm.
and I'd say, "Well, mom's not gonna like this, so how much money you got?" So I blackmailed them. They pay me to not tell my parents they smoked and drank and stuff like that. So I made money off it, and because I'm a terrible little brother. So
That's funny.
that's where
That's
that's where I'm
normal.
from.
That's no, just sibling. But my kids now, I'm like, don't put your hands on each other, respect each other. I'm just a whole different person. I'm just a whole
Yeah.
different person than the way I was brought up. And I guess that's progress, for sure. It is. I know it's progress because I went from being an abusive person as a teenager
Hmm.
and a young woman, I should say, because I continued this behavior until I was about 20, around 20. And then I realized this is not,
Yeah.
we're not little kids anymore.
Hmm.
This is not cute. I gotta stop.
Yeah.
So but changing that behavior from uh being an abusive person to non-abusive, like completely non-violent. It doesn't matter what my brother says to me now. I am who's a good example? I am Mother Teresa now. Just kidding.
Mother Teresa. That's I don't know if it's what the way we learn. I don't know if you learned that on your own to, you're not cute anymore. It's not cute anymore. Beating on, not beating, but
No, it was
being
beating.
aggressive. It was
It
okay. It
was.
was beating the hell out of your brothers. But around here, we just do it till somebody realizes they're overmatched, and then it's over. But we don't have those moments of clarity. It's physically had enough. Yeah, I'm done. Okay, that's cool. But that's just it wasn't me personally, but that's just what I see. That's what I see
Yeah.
around my community, and that's what you know, res life, I suppose.
Yeah, and I think, but we kind of just accept it a lot. Like I feel like
Mm,
it becomes so normal, sort of domestic violence and
yeah.
just violence within our communities, and
Hmm.
and that's where I'm trying to like get pull away from it and be like, what is it about us that how did we get there? Because
Yeah.
I am studying a lot of culture from long time ago from my tribes, and one thing that I noticed is when there was conflict within each other in a family or in a family group, um, there wasn't like rah, 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 there was no popping off. Instead, people would actually be quiet, go their separate ways, pray, maybe for days, maybe for whatever, how long it took,
Hmm.
come back together and each have a solution and leave it there. And I'm like, we are so far colonized that because nobody ever,
Yeah.
when we have a conflict, it's so rare for us to actually just hold our tongue and think and be quiet and go somewhere and like really reflect and find a solution.
Hmm.
Now it's like it's all just, I don't know, it's all Jerry Springer kind of business.
Yeah. Huh. Never thought of that, but yeah, that's
They
that
were
makes
just
sense.
they were just I don't know, I think they were chill or something. They just
Yeah.
My ancestors were chill. I mean, of
Yeah.
course, they weren't chill when they were like burning wagons and like
Yeah.
when they were like they were raiding and
Yeah.
raiding settlements and stealing captives and stuff. They weren't chill
Hmm.
that way, but they were chill with each other.
Yeah. Huh. I'll have to get more into that type of stuff because my kids, I'm breaking up fights every damn day, man. I hear, I'm gonna hit you like 20 times a day. That's what they do, man. That's how
They're
they.
always fighting.
I'm starting to, once the pandemic is over, I'm gonna get them into like MMA so they can let their aggression out,
Mhm.
learn how to, I suppose, channel their aggression
Mhm.
and learn to, I never thought of that before with my older kids. I don't know why. It just, I don't know if it's just listening to a lot of Joe Rogan and stuff, but we got to learn to teach our kids young to channel that aggression in a positive way, and I'll have some child soldiers when I get older, so they can take care of me too. So something like that. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, so I think I'm a real strict parent, and I have a like no hitting at all rule. Of course, when they're small, it's really hard
Hmm.
because they don't have the control, but the older ones definitely do. And so I just if somebody hits somebody, they lose their privileges.
Hmm.
Like they want to watch a movie? Nope,
Yeah.
because you hit your brother. And then it's like, and then I'm trying to really hone in on what it means to be a brother. If you're a big brother and you hit a little brother, I'm like, that's the worst. You're
Yeah.
it's like a bullying thing.
Hmm.
And then it's just it's so but my sons all do boxing, but not like in a gym or anything. We just do like little home workouts with them, and it's not every day, it could be more, but it's like the best I can. But we have two punching bags in our house, like legit big ones in my room, and like first thing when I wake up, just punch. Just kidding. But like, and then the other one's in the garage, and so I always tell the boys, anytime you're feeling, just restless and energy and or angry or frustration, go punch it. And they
Yeah.
do. They'll come in here like, "Hi, mom," and then just go punch. and it's just random. It's not even a full workout. They're just like punching and kicking, and then they go about their day. And I feel like at least, it's getting out that energy. So I
Yeah.
definitely recommend it.
Yeah. I bought one on Amazon, and I put it up. Um, so that's what we're gonna start using more often. I got them boxing gloves, but they turned them on themselves, so that was a bad idea right away. And but
Yeah.
we just gotta, channel that aggression in a positive way. It's easier than said than done. So hopefully we can figure something out pretty quick before they start. Because it's like a
A
battle royal
daily.
here every day, man.
Do you
We
feel like
always
a referee? Do you ever just want to put on
yes,
a do you ever just want to put on like a ref outfit and be like, ding
yeah, yeah.
ding?
Yeah, I'll be sitting there watching TV or something. They're quiet for a while, and they must be getting along. Next thing you know, I'm gonna hit you. It's like, oh man, we were so close to, because they're overly aggressive. They're like res aggressive because they'll grab weapons, they'll grab shoes, brooms, and we gotta hide. We gotta hide the
You have
brooms
to
and the mop.
intervene.
Yes, I have to intervene because they will. They will.
Do some damage.
Yeah, they will. They're just born the way they were, and I don't know if it's what it is, man, but their
Yeah.
family bloodline that we're not really familiar with, and we're my family, my kids were pretty mellow growing up, and
Hmm.
but yeah, it's tough fighting every day. I'm like Big John McCarthy over here and breaking up fights daily, but
Have you seen that one where like the parents put the kids that are fighting in a shirt? Have you
yeah,
seen that one?
that
Have you
wouldn't
tried
work.
it?
That wouldn't work
Don't
for
work.
us.
They just fight inside the shirt, huh?
They'll fight and they'll pull hair, they'll scratch, it won't work. Just putting one in one room, the other in the other room, and TV off. That seems to work. So
Yeah,
we'll
separating.
time out. Yeah, I don't. I was never one to count. I always see parents one, two.
Yeah.
I never bother with that. Just straight up, go in a room, sit down, till come out
When
when
you
you're
calm
nice,
down.
and yeah. Plus,
Yeah,
the booming dad voice really.
helps.
Yeah, it really does. I think that's what all my wife uses me for is the booming dad voice. Because we got to do that with the dogs too, because they try to sneak in, and all I got to do is do the booming dad voice, and everybody's stopped. We were at the park. Was it last summer or the summer before? I don't know. A couple of my kids got too far down the playground there, so I yelled. There were like two or three other families there. Once I yelled, those other kids just the whole park stopped. It's like they never heard a big old dad voice because I can really project now.
Yeah,
It's not about, when some people yell, they lose their voice, but
yeah,
it's like right here when I yell, it's right here. It's not up here. It's more like in the chest,
yeah.
like Kevin Hart said, say it with your chest. So,
It's like that's where the comedy probably come in because you have the mic, and sometimes you have mics that are low, sometimes you
mhm,
have rooms that can't hear, so you do have to learn how to project your
yeah,
voice.
yeah.
Because because what the note that I got a lot when I first started, especially from my husband who is a sound
Hmm.
technician, but he would be like, "We can't hear you," and
Yeah.
I'm like, "Well, turn me up." Because I do a lot of mumbling, I'm like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then and I'm just like, if they can't hear, whatever. But he was like,
Yeah.
but if you can't, they're missing your jokes. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay. So then I learned how to project a little more. Plus, I was a cheerleader, so I do have it in there. But you don't want to sound like you're yelling. You don't want to
Hmm.
sound like you're like yelling at the crowd, or you don't
Yeah.
want to sound angry, but you want them to hear you.
Hmm.
So I think that comes in handy with kids too, because
Yeah.
you're just like, hey,
Yeah.
and without losing all your voice and without turning all like having a jugular vein
Yeah.
sticking out.
That's when I used to work at a boys and girls club. I'd always tell I don't know what it was. One word would always make kids stop. I see kids walking by or running by. I just you know elbow my coworker. Watch this. I go, hey. Then everybody would just stop. I don't know what it is about the dad voice has worked for me for many moons. So
Hey,
hopefully that
it's effective,
yeah.
but for women it sucks because, or if you, not just women, but any or even men that don't have that deep of a voice, it's like then what do you do?
Yeah.
But for me, I just, even though I have a high pitched voice, I drop my voice a little bit too when I'm talking to my boys. If I really need to be stern, I will go, hey, but I have two levels. I'm either drill sergeant or I'm like the dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm either sometimes I'll literally tell my kids like, come on guys, like it's not cool. Like like really, dude, you're just really gonna leave this mess here? Not cool, man.
Yeah.
And I'm like that, or I'm like, hey, get to your barber, get to your
Mhm.
barber, pick it up. And that's it. It's like there's nothing. I'm too chill or I'm drill sergeant, and so I think I need a little kind of in the
Yeah.
middle.
No. Yeah, it's effective for me. So hopefully, I keep my manly voice. But I don't. I think that's all I got. What do you got coming on? Are you more auditions? You're doing Zoom shows, or what's next for you?
Well, mostly I'm spending all my energy on grad school. And so I'm going to IAIA in Santa Fe, the Institute of American Indian Arts.
Hmm?
Yeah. And learning a lot. I'm super excited about that. Just really
Yeah.
nerding it up and nerding it out. And I'm having fun with that. And I'm still doing auditions. I'm still getting my feet wet with the acting thing. And as far as Zoom shows, they're sporadic. I haven't been preparing for them. This is as best as it gets. And
Hmm.
mostly I feel like I'm rambling half the time.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
do you
Same.
do you want to hear a native woman ramble? Because if that's what you want, that is what you'll get. And but other than that, it's just so weird. I don't even know what's gonna happen with from one day to the next. It's always crazy. I've been applying for all the like small business grants and not getting not getting a lot of them, and like and for some reason I'm like ineligible for unemployment or something. That's a whole mess. So I've really just been sitting back enjoying my new life as a welfare queen. And I guess I'm gonna ride out this welfare queen until somebody wants to hire me.
Yeah. Yeah, I was actually fortunate enough to start working when because I did the comedy thing, try to make a run out of it, and it wasn't really going as I thought it was gonna be, and I just took it as far as I could, and I actually got hired. I started working the day everything shut down, so I was able to,
Oh,
start
nice.
a job and life insurance and health insurance, dental and new glasses. So
Nice. I
these
thought
are
something was new.
these are worth more than my first car I paid for. These
For real.
glasses. So yeah, that's so that
Fancy.
yeah. So I'm moving up in the world, but yeah, I'm working every day. Well, actually, I'm off for till next week now, so I'm just
Cool.
trying to stay busy, build my little studio here. I'm trying
I know,
to
I see
get
it. It's
back together,
cool.
get this whole thing podcasting, try to make some money off this or
Yeah.
something, man.
Heck yeah. In my theory about the whole comedy thing and why it's so hard for native comedians to get out there and really get out there is
Hmm.
because of our physical isolation, like
Yeah.
just geographically. I know you put in the miles.
Hmm.
I know you've traveled all over the place. And it's one of those things where you can do it for a while,
Yeah.
and then if you're unless you're just stacked in cash,
Yeah.
the money runs out, and then it's like it doesn't make sense anymore at some
Yeah.
point. And that's why I moved to Albuquerque, because I was living on the res and like right on the border.
Hmm.
And but either way, it was too isolated.
Yeah.
It was, and that's no matter where I go. So if I go to my husband's res, South Dakota is super isolated.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's not a big comedy scene. And then same, and I'm from Oklahoma. It's like all these places where we are rural people. you
Yeah.
know, and not all of us, of course, there's urban Indians, there's urban tribes, but a lot of tribes are rural.
Hmm.
And so I think that the America, it has the media has a easy time just ignoring us.
Yeah.
And so, and for many of us, you know, there's no way we can leave our reservations because of that support system and the cultural significance that is there. And I don't think that non-natives understand that you know, and that's one of the things that like bothers me. And so I kind of I tweeted something recently and then I took it down because I'm
Hmm.
a wuss. I do that all the time. I'll like tweet something
Yeah.
and then I'll be like, oh, that might offend someone, so I'm gonna take it down. But in the moment, you know, it was just me being honest with my
Hmm.
emotions. But I started seeing all these, you know, there's a lot of native projects coming up and I'm so excited about it. But what I noticed is like it really feels like there's still no room for quote residents, you
Yeah.
know? And and that just sucks because even me, I moved to Albuquerque and moved away from my community and my support system just so I could try to make it. And that's not fair for like, that shouldn't be what we have to choose between
Hmm.
as a Native people. We shouldn't have to choose between our hopes and dreams and our culture and community.
Hmm.
It's not a fair choice. And so they need to do something about that where it's more inclusive, like, you know, hire people from the res and fly them out, spend the extra money to, because then you're actually getting uh, a diverse voice.
Authenticity.
Yes. And you know, diversity, authenticity, and if you really want to be inclusive you have to stop ignoring the reservation.
Yeah.
And then I got real mad because I was like, you know, I get hired to go talk to kids on the reservation. And I do my best. Most of
Hmm.
it's just comedy. I'm like, haha, I was a stupid cheerleader in high school. But like the rest of it is like, don't give up, dream, you know, stuff like that, right?
Hmm.
But I start feeling like, am I lying to them? Because what I really want to say is in this country, if you live on the reservation, you'll get left behind. And I don't like that. It feels ugly. You know,
Hmm.
there's plenty of cases where that's not the case, and there's lots of enterprise and businesses and so much talent on the reservation. But the rest of America refuses to see it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so I was like so upset. I was like, why are we telling all the indigenous youth on the res that they can dream big and they can do things when in reality I just want to say dream big, but you have to leave. And that sucks. I don't want them to. I don't want anyone to have to make that choice because yeah, I had to make that choice. And it sucks because I always watch videos of things back home and I get homesick and I'm missing dances and I'm missing ceremonies and my language is starting to suffer because when I
Hmm.
first left, I was 18 years old when I left Oklahoma and I could speak a basic level of my language, conversational. Like I knew more than most people my age because I had taken classes, plus I had fluent speakers in my family. And I just was really fortunate to have that level, right?
Hmm.
And then I left, had no one to talk to. And then as the years went on, that language started, it just started like getting rustier and rustier and rustier to where now I'm back where like I'm having to relearn it,
Hmm.
you know? So that's my big rant. Is like quit making the res kids choose between their culture and their community versus their dreams. Rant over.
Yeah. I hear that, man. That's the you know, people ask me, you know, what made me want to get out and do comedy and would I encourage others to do it, and no, I wouldn't encourage people to do this, but it's, you hear a lot of success stories about, people just got up, turned 18, graduated high school, went out to Hollywood and, did their thing, but they don't see the 20, 25 years of hard work, not getting paid, trying to get your name out there. People see Kevin Hart. I know for a fact that he performed in our area about 18 years ago. Nobody knew who he was. It was like middle of January, 20 below, and I don't even know if he ever brought that up because I remember seeing his name on a flyer when I was in college, and people don't realize how much work you have to put in to get to that level. It doesn't happen overnight, and a lot of people, a lot of the people that have done that and have failed are the ones that really maybe struggle with alcohol and drugs, and it's not really a sustainable lifestyle going out trying to achieve your dreams. It sounds good on paper, but it's not. There's a really good chance it's not going to happen, and you need something to fall back on. And
Yeah.
I would say just learn as much as you can. Go to college if you have to. Just learn as much as you can, and then get to a point in life where you understand the effort, the work, the sacrifice you have to put in to actually chase your dream. You just can't leave home after high school and go for it. You gotta at least know what you're getting into. And if I started this after high school, I probably would have never survived. I swear to you, I see Belushi and Chris Farley. If I left Red Lake right after high school, I would have been in a lot of trouble because I was so immature. Like I said,
Yeah.
I didn't start thinking clearly as an adult till my mid to late 30s, and
So like last year.
yeah,
Hey.
last year I'm still learning
Till
stuff
this
that
year.
I should have been doing when I was, in my 20s, but I'm lazy. But yeah, man,
Well,
that's it. So
you
don't chase
are
your dreams,
one
kids.
cool lazy friend.
Don't chase your dream, kids.
Yeah, so you should just name this "Don't Chase Your Dreams,"
Don't please
children.
please don't chase your dreams, kids. But yeah,
Just jaded and
yeah,
bitter.
they
No,
asked me that's just stay home, live with your parents. It's
just stay
safe.
home and get some
Safe.
pets, and
Yeah.
you'll be
Let
good.
cats. You'll be
Be
all right.
happy.
You'll be
Get
all
some
right.
cats. Oh shoot.
Hate to leave it on that note, but
Yeah,
just like we're being honest, that's just how
that's how it
it
feels
is.
right now, kiddos. But
What it is,
hey,
man.
do you, huh?
Yeah,
Do you, kids, everybody.
yeah. But yeah, thanks for coming on. We got to do this again soon. Hopefully, we're back on the road, and I want to head back down to that dirty Southwest. I had so much fun down there. The times
Yeah.
I was there, and the Navajo
Dirty.
crowds, and just love it, man. I really love that area, and
Yeah, it's gonna happen. We'll put it out there. We'll put it out there
yeah.
for the
Once
universe.
we all get vaccinated by March, April, May, they're so slow with that vaccine. I don't know what's going on where, but I don't know. We'll get
I don't know.
there.
I got an arm ready.
I
Let's
know,
go.
me too, man. Me too. I'm ready. Ready to do this. Get this COVID-19 over with. But
Yeah.
again, thanks for coming on. Good to see you again, and we shall hopefully hit the road again in 2021. Alrighty.
Oh, cool. Happy New
To you
Year.
as well. Well, it's New Year's Eve tomorrow already. So see you next year, I suppose.
Cool. Peace.